Good morning. Today we will discuss regarding root locus method. So it is well known that the transient response of a feedback system is closely related to the locations of the closed loop poles. From the design viewpoint, for some systems, simple gain adjustment may move the closed loop poles to desired locations. So, for example, consider a unity feedback system with open loop transfer function. The transfer function that is given, let the input signal that is applied, then with open loop gain taking the values Ka is equal to 13.5, 200 and 1500 respectively, the system exhibits the different responses. So in a graph, for the different values of gain, the different responses that we can see in a graph. So therefore, it is important to determine how the roots of the characteristic equation move around the S-plane as we change the open loop gain. So root locus is a graphical method in which movement of poles in the S-plane is sketched when a particular parameter of a system is varied from 0 to infinity. So the characteristic equation of a closed loop system is given as 1 plus GSHS equal to 0. So the root locus analysis aims to investigate the closed loop stability and the system controller design through the open loop transfer function with variation of a certain system parameter, commonly the open loop gain. So the characteristic equation of a closed loop system is 1 plus kgs equal to 0 for the given system. The root locus is essentially the trajectories of roots of the characteristic equation as the parameter k is varied from 0 to infinity. So when gs involves the factor k, which is variable, the roots of the above characteristic equation are dependent on the value of k. If now gain k is varied from minus infinity to plus infinity, then for each separate value of k, we will get separate sets of locations of the roots of the characteristic equation. If all such locations are joined, the resulting locus is called root locus. So the simple definition of the root locus is a curve or the other figure formed by all the points satisfying a particular equation of the relation between coordinates or by a point, line or surface moving according to mathematically defined conditions. So the root locus is a path of the roots of the characteristic equation trace or trace out in a S-plane as the system parameter k is changed from 0 to infinity. So as we can define root locus as the locus of the closed loop poles obtained when the system gain k is varied from minus infinity to plus infinity is called root locus. So when k is varied from 0 to plus infinity, the plot is called as direct root locus, while when k is varied from minus infinity to 0, the plot obtained is called as inverse root locus. So generally, the variation in gain k is assumed to be 0 to plus infinity and the plot is called root locus. So it gives graphical representation of a system's transient response and also stability. So we can see the range of stability, instability and the condition that cause a system to break into oscillation. So this is another definition of the root locus. So root locus is a graphical representation of the closed loop poles as the system parameter is varied. So it can be used to describe qualitatively the performance of a system as various parameters are changed. So it gives graphic representation of a system's transient response and also stability. So first of all, we will see what is angle and magnitude condition. So there are two important conditions that we would need to know to obtain the root locus with the characteristic equation. So characteristic equation is in general is 1 plus GSHS equal to 0. Therefore, GSHS equal to minus 1. So as the S-plane is complex, because there is a minus 1, so roots will be complex, we can write GS equal to minus 1 plus J0. So this equation has magnitude as well as the phase. So that will be equal to 1, and it is same for positive as well as negative feedback. So angle GSHS is equal to plus or minus 180 degree. But since minus 1 plus J0 point can be traced with the angle plus or minus 180, plus or minus 540, plus or minus 900. So we can thus have a generalized angle condition as angle GSHS equal to plus or minus 2Q plus 1 into 180 degree, where Q is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So every point on a root locus will necessarily satisfy the magnitude condition as well as angle condition. So the purpose of angle condition is to calculate whether the given point lies on a root locus or not. And the purpose of magnitude condition is to calculate system gain at any point which is on a root locus. Now we will see how the root locus that will be constructed. So there are many rules which are used to construct root locus are, so rule number 1, the root locus is always symmetrical about the real axis. The roots of the characteristic equation are either real or complex conjugates or combination of both. So therefore, their locus must be symmetrical about the real axis of the S-plane. So that is shown in the diagram. So the root locus that will be always symmetrical about the real axis. So different sections of S-planes that are shown, left half, right half. So root locus, it is always symmetrical about the real axis. So that is a rule number 1. Then rule number 2. So each branch of the root locus originates from an open loop pole at k equal to 0 and terminates at k equal to infinity, either on open loop 0 or on infinity. The numbers of branches of the root locus terminating on infinity is equal to n minus m. So where n is equal to number of poles and m is equal to number of zeros. So in this step, you have to get the general information about the number of open loop poles, zeros, and number of branches, etc. from GSHS. So GSHS that will be given, and in this step you have to find out how many number of poles are there, how many number of zeros are there, and how many number of branches for the root locus. So example, it is given at the bottom. So GSHS it is given. So the number of poles that can be determined by equating the denominator equal to 0. So we will get different values of s if we put the denominator equal to 0. So s equal to 0, then s equal to minus 2 plus 2j, and another value it is s equal to minus 2 minus 2j. So number of poles, so that is called a number of poles. When you put the denominator, equate the denominator equal to 0, that will be the number of poles. So number of poles, that will be equal to 3 values that you will get for that n equal to 3. Number of zeros means you have to equate the numerator equal to 0 for the value of s. So in the numerator the s is not there, so m equal to number of zeros, that will be equal to 0. So you have to find out the number of loci, or you can say it is a number of branches. So number of branches, that will be equal to number of poles. So there are 3 conditions. If number of poles is greater than number of zeros, then you will get number of branches, that will be equal to number of poles. So branches will start from each of the location of open loop pole. Out of n number of branches, m number of branches will terminate at the locations of open loop zeros, and the remaining, that is n minus m branches, will approach to infinity. Second case, if number of zeros are greater than number of poles, then number of branches, that will be equal to number of zeros, number of open loop zeros. So branches will terminate at each of the finite location of open loop 0. And third case, if the number of poles equal to number of zeros, then number of branches or the loci, that will be equal to number of poles or number of zeros. So in this step you have to find out. So starting with the problem or constructing the root loci or the root locus, you have to find out the number of poles, number of zeros, and number of branches. Then rule number 3. So segments of the real axis having an odd number of real axis open loop poles plus open loop zeros to their right are parts of the root locus. Now after finding out number of poles, number of zeros, you have to find out the part of the root locus on real axis. So there is a condition: if number of poles plus zeros at right side of the segment is odd for the given point, then it is a part of root locus, else it is not. So in a diagram that is shown, so there are number of poles, that is denoted by cross. So there are no number of zeros. So for the given example, for this example, so that is s equal to 0 and s equal to minus 2 plus j2, and at the bottom you can see there is a minus 2 minus j2. So these are the number of poles. Now we have to put the point on the real axis, so that on a left hand side, or the not on a left hand side, on the right hand side of this point, that will be the odd. So a point on a real axis lies on a root locus if the sum of number of open loop poles and the open loop zeros on the real axis to the right side, to the right hand side of this point is odd. So you can see in a diagram. So consider point P on a real axis. So see the point P. So this is another example. So s equal to 0, or the open loop poles are 0, -1, sorry, open loop poles are 0, -3 and -5, and open loop zeros, sorry, open loop zeros that are shown, that is equal to -1 and -4. So there are 3 poles and 2 zeros. Now consider point P on a real axis. Now consider point P at anywhere on a real axis. So according to the rule, when the sum of number of poles and zeros on right hand side of a particular point, that is point P, is odd, then the point P will be on a root locus. Now see the number of poles and the number of zeros on a right hand side of the P. So there is a 1 pole and 1 zero. So that is 2 number of poles and the number of zeros, that are 2. So it is a even number. So here there is 1 pole and 1 zero at right side of the P, that is 2, that is even number. So point P will not be on a root locus. So consider point Q. So point P, it is in between -1 and -3. Now consider point Q. So on the right hand side of the point Q, there are 2 poles and 1 zero. The total number, it is 3. So it is an odd number. So the point Q will be on a root locus. That means the point Q that will be on a root locus, and it should be in between -3 and -4. So that is rule number 3. So you can see the another example. So GSHS it is given, that is K S plus 2 upon S into S plus 4. So number of poles will be S equal to 0 and S equal to -4. So number of poles, that will be S equal to 0 and S equal to -4, that is shown in a S plane or pole 0 plot, and number of zeros, that will be S equal to -2. So S plus 2 equal to 0. If you equate numerator equal to 0, you will get the number of, or you will get the number of zeros. So S equal to -2, that will be the 0. So that is shown in a diagram, 0 and the poles. So if we take the point in between -2 and -4, then on a right hand side of that point, there are 1 0 and 1 pole. So it is even. So there should not be the point on a root locus between point 2 and point 4. But if you take the point on a in between 0 to -2, then on a right hand side of that particular point, only one pole will be there. So this point, that will be on a root locus. And if we take the point between point -4 to -infinity, then there will be the 3 poles and the zeros, or the 3 points on a right hand side of that particular point. So that is an odd number, means there should be the point on a root locus between -4 to -infinity. So that is shown here. So the poles and the locus on real axis and no locus, that is shown. This is another example, S plus 2 and S square S plus 4. Rule number 4. Generally, number of poles are more than the number of zeros, that is n is greater than m. In such case, n minus m branches will approach to infinity. So this rule gives us information about how these branches approach to infinity. So the branches which are approaching to infinity do so along the straight lines called as asymptotes of the root locus. So asymptotes are the guidelines for the branches approaching to infinity. So angle of such asymptotes are given by theta is equal to into bracket 2q plus 1 into 180 degree upon n minus m, where q is equal to 0, 1, 2. That will be equal to value of q, that will be equal to p minus it is n minus m minus 1. So that depends upon the number of poles and number of zeros minus 1. That values that you have to take for the q, and for that theta that you have to find out. So example it is given. So calculate number of asymptotes and angle of asymptotes. So number of asymptotes that will be n minus m, that will be equal to 3. So 3 asymptotes will be there. So asymptotes that are the guidelines for the branches approaching to infinity. Now angle of asymptotes, that is here different notation that is used, that is beta is equal to 2x plus 1 into 180 degree upon n minus m, where x is equal to 0, 1, 2. So that value of x that you have to take, how many values that you have to find out, that depends upon the number of poles and zeros, that is n minus m minus 1. So beta equal to, for x equal to 0 you will get value of beta 1 is equal to 60 degree. For x equal to 1 you will get value of beta 2 is equal to 180 degree, and for x equal to 2 you will get value of beta 3 equal to 300 degree. Then you have to find out the location of asymptotes. So location of asymptotes in S plane is given by this rule. All the asymptotes intersect the real axis at a common point known as centroid, denoted by sigma. So after finding out the degree of asymptotes or angle of asymptotes and number of asymptotes, you should know from where you have to draw these asymptotes, that is called a centroid. So the coordinates of centroid can be calculated as the sigma equal to summation real parts of poles of GSHS minus summation real parts of zeros of GSHS upon n minus m, or the number of poles minus number of zeros. So centroid is always real. It may be located on negative or positive axis. It may or may not be the part of root locus. So remember that it may or may not be the part of the root locus. So real part, if you see the example at the bottom to find out the centroid for the asymptotes. So summation of real part of poles and real part of zeros. So 0 minus 2 minus 2 minus 0 upon 3, that is poles minus zeros. So that will be equal to minus 1.33. So this is an example for this. This s plus 2 s minus 2. So you have to take the summation of poles minus summation of zeros. So that values of poles and zeros that you have been calculated in a first step, only that values that we have to put in this formula. you will get the centroid. So minus 1.33, that will be on a real axis. So you can see here now. So the transfer function, it is given gs equal to k upon s up into s plus 1 and s plus 2. So by the rule, find out the value of s means find out the value of poles, that will be equal to s equal to 0, s equal to minus 1 and s equal to minus 2. So by the rule, the root loci exist on minus 1 to 0 and minus 2 to minus infinity. So these are the poles. So number of zeros, that will be equal to 0. And number of poles will be, you can see the graph, 0, minus 1, minus 2. If you take the point on in between 0 to minus 1, so on the right hand side only one pole will be there. So there is the point in between 0 and minus 1, that will be on a root locus. If you take the point in between minus 1 to minus 2, so there on a right hand side of that point, that is minus, that 2 points will be there, so it is even number. So the point in between minus 1 and minus 2, that will not be on a root locus. And it when you take the point in between minus 2 and minus infinity, then on a right hand side of that point there are 3 points, that is a odd number means. So point in between the minus 2 and minus infinity, that will be on a root locus. So that is denoted by the dark lines. So 0 to minus 1, that is a NR means point on a root locus. RL, that is means root locus, and NRL means it is a not on a root locus. So by rule 3, for the asymptotes, so number of summation of number of poles, that will be equal to 0, minus 1, minus 2 minus number of zeros, that will be equal to 0 upon n minus m, that is 3 minus 0 equal to 3. So that will be equal to minus 1. So centroid, that will be on a minus 1. And from that centroid, you have to draw the asymptotes, that is shown by the dotted line in this graph. So the angle that you have to calculate. So the formula, that is 180 degree into 2k plus 1 upon 3. So we have already seen the formula, that is beta equal to 2x plus 1 into 180 degree upon n minus m, where x equal to 0, 1, 2. That you have to find out different values. So you will get the angle 60 degree, 180 degree and minus 60 degree. So from that point, centroid point, you have to draw the asymptotes. So only two asymptotes that will be applicable. So minus 60 degree, that is not applicable, because the same line that will be appear minus 60 degree. So that's why in a formula that is given, so x equal to 0, 1, 2 dash dash dash, but that values, that will be n minus m minus 1. So if the n minus m equal to 3, so 3 minus 1, that is two values of x that you have to take to find out the degrees. So only two asymptotes will be there. Then rule number 6, that is breakaway point. So breakaway point is a point on a root locus where multiple roots of the characteristic equation occurs for a particular value of k. The root locus branches always leave breakaway points at an angle of plus or minus 180 degree upon n, where n is equal to number of branches approaching to breakaway point. So the breakaway point of the root locus are determined from the root of the equation dk by ds is equal to 0. So s should be the real for breakaway point. If it is not real, then no breakaway point will be there on a root locus. So general predictions for that existing of the breakaway points are: if there are adjacently placed poles in a diagram that is shown, if there are adjacently placed poles on a real axis and the real axis it is a part of root locus, then there exists minimum one breakaway point in between adjacently placed poles. So there are two poles and that are adjacently placed, and that part of the real axis it is a root locus. Then there should be one break point that will be exist. Another prediction is if there are two adjacently placed zeros on a real axis. You can see in a diagram two adjacently poles on a real axis, and that section of the real axis it is a root locus. It is a part of root locus. Then there should exist one breakaway point. If there is a 0 on a real axis and to the left of that 0 there is no pole or 0 existing on a real axis, and complete real axis to the left of this 0 is a part of root locus, then there exists minimum one breakaway point to the left of that 0. So that is shown at the bottom. So this is a general prediction to find out the breakaway point. So determination of breakaway point. So from that prediction we will know, so there should any breakaway point exist or not. If there is a breakaway point exist, then you have to calculate that value. So determination of breakaway point. So first construct the characteristic equation 1 plus GSHS equal to 0. Write the equation in the form of k is equal to fs. Differentiate above equation with respect to s and equate it to 0. dk by ds equal to 0. Then roots of the equation dk by ds is equal to 0 gives us the breakaway point. Put the value of s in equation and find k. For breakaway point, k value should be positive. So breakaway point, that is find out. So that is gs, it is given. So three asymptotes, so angles that are find out. So 60 degree, 180 degree and 300. Then alpha, that is centroid, that is -1, and breakaway point that is find out by using following formula. So beta equal to -0.423 and -1.577. These are the breakaway point. Second method to find out breakaway point. The breakaway point is found by differentiating Vs with respect to S and equate it to 0, as shown in the previous slide. So Gs equal to K upon S, S plus 1, S plus 2, that is a transfer function given. So Vs equal to so dv by ds is equal to 3s square plus 6s plus 2 upon k equal to 0. So after solving this, you will get SB is equal to -1.577 and -0.423. So that is a determination of the breakaway point. So in this slide, you can say the breakaway point. So transfer function it is given. So you will get the equation s cube plus 4s square plus 8s plus k is equal to 0. Then k is equal to minus ds upon ns. So after differentiating, you can find out the value of s. So it is minus 1.33 plus or minus j 0.94. So if it is complex values, then no breakaway point that is exist. So that will be the root locus that will be above and below the real axis. That is the meaning of if no breakaway point exist, means that root locus that will not intersect the real axis. That is the simple meaning of this. Then rule number 7, intersection of root locus with imaginary axis. This can be determined by following procedure. Consider characteristic equation 1 plus GSHS equal to 0. Construct roots array in terms of k. Determine k marginal, that is value of k, which creates one of the rows of the roots array as row of zeros. Construct auxiliary equation a of s equal to 0 by using coefficients of a row which is just above the row of zeros, and roots of auxiliary equation a of s equal to 0 for k is equal to k marginal are nothing but the intersection points of the root locus with imaginary axis. So 1 plus GSHS it is calculated. So s cube plus 4s square plus 8s plus k is equal to 0. Construct the roots array. So you can see the roots array. So 32 minus k is equal to 0. So make one of the row is equal to 0. So k that will be equal to k marginal, that will be equal to 32. So differentiate the previous rows. So it will be 4s square plus 32 is equal to 0. So s equal to plus or minus j 2.82. So omega marginal that will be equal to plus or minus 2.82 radian per second. So that s equal to value of s equal to plus or minus j 2.82 means that will intersect at this point on a imaginary axis. So this is a procedure to find out intersection of root locus with imaginary axis. Now you can see, so this is a transfer function, it is given, and roots array for this transfer function it is made. Now make one of the row equal to 0. So row s raised to 1 it is made 0. So minus k square minus 65k plus 720 upon 90 minus k is equal to 0. So we will get k marginal equal to 9.65. So the system is stable for k is in between 0 to 9.65. Now differentiate the previous row, that is 90 minus k s square plus 21k is equal to 0. You will get the intersection point on a imaginary axis. So s equal to plus or minus j 1.59. So the root locus crosses the imaginary axis at plus or minus j 1.59 at a gain of 9.65. That is the meaning of this rule. So you can see here. So this is the imaginary axis that is shown plus j 1.59 for the value of k is equal to 9.65 that crosses the or intersects the imaginary axis jw, and minus j 1.59 for the k marginal equal to 9.65 that is crosses the imaginary axis at the bottom, and these are the two asymptotes. Then that root locus that is shown by the green line, and that root locus crosses the real axis that is called the breakaway point, and the asymptotes that will be start from the real axis that is called the centroid. Now the rule number 8, it is only applicable when either complex poles or complex zeros are there. So we have to find out angle of departure and angle of arrival. So angle of departure is given by the formula phi d is equal to 180 minus 5, and angle of arrival is given by formula phi a is equal to 180 plus 5. So this is the example that is given. Transfer function is given. So angle of departure that is shown. So phi d is equal to 180 minus into bracket minus 71.56, that is 251.56 degree. So this is shown in an angle of departure. Now the general steps to solve the problems on root locus. So step number 1, get the general information about the numbers of open loop poles, zeros, and number of branches, etc. from GSHS. Step number 2, draw the pole zero plot, identify sections of the real axis for the existence of the root locus, and predict minimum number of breakaway points by using general predictions. Step number 3, calculate angle of asymptotes. Step number 4, determine the centroid. Sketch a separate sketch for the step number 3 and step number 4. Step number 5, calculate the breakaway points. If breakaway points are complex conjugates, then use angle condition to check them for their validity as a breakaway points. Step number 6, calculate the intersection points of root locus with the imaginary axis. Step number 7, calculate the angle of departures or arrivals if applicable. And step 8, combine steps 1 to 7 and draw the final sketch of the root locus. And step 9, predict the stability and performance of the given system by using the root locus. So the example, one example it is given. So a feedback control system has open loop transfer function is given, GSHS equal to the transfer function is given. So from this first step, that you have to find number of poles, number of zeros, and number of branches. So from the bottom, if you equate the denominator equal to 0, you will get number of poles. If you equate the numerator equal to 0, you will get number of zeros. So number of poles are 4. So s values are s equal to 0, s equal to minus 4, and two values, that is minus 2 plus or minus j4. Number of zeros are 0. Angle of asymptote phi alpha is equal to, formula it is given, and how many values that you have to find out? For q it is only 3, because the q is, it should be n minus m minus 1, that is 4 minus 0 minus 1, that is 3 values that will be applicable for to get the number of asymptotes. So phi alpha is equal to 45 degree, 1 for 35 degree, 255 degree, and 315 degree. So find out breakaway point. So breakaway point is equal to minus 2 and minus 2 plus or minus z 2.45. So out of these three roots, s equal to minus 2 is definitely a valid breakaway point as it lies on a root locus. Now angle of departure, that is find out by the formula 180 minus into bracket minus 90, that is you will get 270 degree, and intersection with imaginary axis, that is find out. So you can see the centroid, then the asymptotes, and then the root locus on either side. Another example that you will see. So step 1, construction of root locus. So GSHS it is given. So angle is minus angle s minus angle s plus 1 minus. So this is a angle and magnitude condition. So the angle condition is not satisfied, hence there is no root locus on a positive real axis. Now select the test point on a negative real axis between 0 to -1. So P2, that is a point on a negative real axis. So angle condition it is satisfied. So the portion of the negative real axis between 0 to -1 forms a portion of the root locus. So that we have already discussed how the point on a negative real axis it is selected. So you have to see how many points, if it is odd or even, on a right hand side of that particular point. According to that, if that numbers is odd, then that point that should be on a root locus. So you can see that is denoted by red line. That is the portion of the negative real axis on a root locus. Determine the asymptotes. So n is the number of poles, m is the number of zeros. So asymptotes are 60 degree, 180 degree, 300 degree and 420 degree. Since the angle repeats itself as k is varied, the distinct angle for the asymptotes are determined as 60 degree, -60 degree and 180 degree. So point of intersection of the asymptotes that are find out by using the formula sigma equal to summation of poles minus summation of zeros upon n minus m. So if you put the values, you will get -1. So that -1, that will be the point of intersection of asymptotes. So asymptotes that will be formed from the point, to draw the asymptotes from the point -1 on a real axis. So you can see here. So this is a point that is called a centroid. So -1, 3 asymptotes that are drawn. Now the breakaway point from which root locus branches leaves and arrives the real axis. So breakaway point can be determined from the root. So dk by ds equal to 0. So after calculating, you will get dk by ds equal to -3s square minus 6s minus 2. So breakaway point that will be equal to -1.5774. So 2 points that you will get -0.4226 and -1.5774. Since the breakaway point needs to be on a root locus between 0 and -1, it is clear that s equal to -0.4226 corresponds to the actual breakaway point, and point s equal to -1.5774 is not on a root locus. Hence this point is not an actual breakaway point or break-in point. So that is denoted, that breakaway point that is denoted by the black spot is equal to 0.4226. So through which your root locus will pass. Now you have to find out where the root locus cross the imaginary axis. So the present system, the characteristic equation is given. So by the calculation, you will get the k equal to 6, that is the k marginal. So you have to find out the roots array and you have to find out the value of k. By forming the roots array, you will get k marginal equal to 6 and the intersection of the root locus with the imaginary axis, that points you will get. and then you have to draw that root locus. So this is regarding the root locus method. Thank you.